Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, and welcome to my Rebel Tantive ship here at Bleeped Productions. Yeah, we're just chilling in space because we have some fantastic content for you today. That's right, we're going to be bringing you some Imperial Assault. Now, this has been a piece of content in the works for almost 2 years, due to the fact of me painting models, getting friends to paint models, and then me finding the time to actually do this series. So what we're going to do is we're going to kick it off with the core campaign, and then we're going to go to all the other systems doing other campaigns. Now, we have already completed one mission called Aftermath, and to see the outcome of that mission, the link is in the description below of this video. So with that, we will move on to Mission 2, which is a side mission called The Spice Job. Han Solo's debts have become a prime concern for his companion. Against Han's wishes, Chewbacca has a task that he hopes will reduce the Hutt's attention towards Han. If successful, the job may earn some credits and distract the Hutts, allowing Han a time of respite, however brief. Now, in this series, we're going to go back and forth with heroes. Normally, you're supposed to just have the heroes you're dealt with and you go through the whole entire campaign. I want to change it up a little bit. Some characters are going to be going in and out of the campaign because if they've been taking damage throughout these missions, they're not going to be going straight on to another mission. It's kind of like XCOM in a way. I'm going to be replacing them with other characters in the Imperial Assault box set. But for this mission, we are going to be using Jyn, Fen, Garken, and Dahlia. But for this mission only, the Rebel team operatives will be joined by Chewbacca. So, with the side mission, The Spice Job, the Rebel operatives have to collect 6 spice barrels at the location they are going to win the scenario. But the Imperial forces need to wound each Rebel operative to win the scenario for their victory condition. This side mission will be played over 5 rounds. So without further ado, let's get straight into the second mission, which is a side mission of our Imperial Assault campaign, guys. This is The Spice Job. A Weequay stands guard in the alley outside the storehouse. As you walk up, he glares, placing a hand on his blaster. With a roar, Chewbacca charges forward. He seizes the surprised guard and slams him into the door, over and over, until it smashes inward. Dropping the unconscious and battered Weequay, he steps inside, and the Rebel operatives follow. The Imperial forces start with 4 threats for this mission. First to activate is Dahlia.
We shall face all the challenges the fates put before us.
And she will attack the Nexu as her plasteel staff has reach. And she will spend 2 strain to use Precision Strike, not allowing the Nexu to roll a white defense dice. For her first attack, she rolls 2 surges, and with the staff turning 1 surge into 1 damage, and 1 surge to a stun for the Nexu, meaning the creature will have to spend 1 action on its turn to lose that condition. For her second action, she will move into the storehouse and will stop as she is moving through difficult terrain, adding 1 more point of movement for each square in this terrain. Next to activate is the Nexu. The creature's first action is to lose the condition stun. For his second action, he will move up to Dahlia, but making it hard for the rebel forces to access the storehouse. Next to activate is Garken. He will use his ability Charge to charge at the Nexu, spending 2 strain to do so. Garken's charge attack hits, and with his roll, does 3 damage to the Nexu. Garken's second action is to attack the Nexu once again, and with that attack roll, Garken will be doing 2 more damage to the Nexu. Next to activate are the Transdosian Hunters.
I shall make you a trophy for my ship.
The first hunter will move up the storehouse, and for its first action, attack Dahlia. And with that roll, Dahlia will be taking 2 damage. But the Transdosians have an ACP scattergun, and as she is adjacent to him, he will do another 2 damage due to having this gun, taking Dahlia's total damage to 4 damage taken by this attack. Dahlia will also receive 1 strain from this hunter due to his relentless rule, meaning when you declare an attack targeting a figure within 3 spaces, that figure suffers 1 strain. The second Transdosian hunter will walk up the storehouse for its first action. He will then shoot at Garken.
Stay your savage tongue.
And with that roll, the Transdosian will be spending that 1 strain to make himself focused. And with his scattergun ability, Garken will be taking 3 damage this turn, and receive 1 strain due to the relentless ability. Next to activate is Chewbacca. And for his first action, he will be moving up into the storehouse. For his second action, he will shoot at the Nexu. And with that dice roll, Chewbacca will be doing 5 damage to the Nexu, killing that creature. Next to activate for the Imperial forces is the probe droid. And the droid will shoot at the exiled Jedi Dahlia. And with that roll, Dahlia rolled a dodge, meaning the probe droid's attack cannot do any damage. And with all those surges, the droid cannot do anything. So the droid's second action is to retreat back into the storehouse. Next to activate is Fen.
Let's lock and load.
He will use his ability Tactical Movement, which he acquired from the first mission's success. And the card states, exhaust this card at the start of your activation and choose yourself or a friendly figure within 3 spaces, and that figure gains 2 movement points. Fen decides to give Jin 2 additional movement points. He then moves through the storehouse for his first action. His second action is to attack the blue-clothed Transdosian hunter, and he will spend 1 strain to use Havoc Shot, granting his infantry rifle Blast 1. He shoots at the hunter, and with that roll, Fen will use 1 of the surges to turn it to 1 damage, giving the Transdosian 2 damage to be taken. And due to Havoc Shot, the other hunter will take 1 damage, and so will Dahlia. After his second activation, Fen will use the ability Lone Wolf to recover 1 strain from himself as no one is adjacent to him. As there are no more Imperial activations, Jin is the last person to activate this turn.
If anyone tries to capture me, I'll incinerate their brain.
She will move up into the storehouse for her first action, using the additional 2 movement points granted to her by Fen. For her second action, she will shoot at the blue-clothed Transdosian. She will use her new DH-17 acquired from spending credits after the last mission. And with that roll, the hunter blocks 2 damage. And Jin will spend 1 surge to give the attack +1 damage and +1 pierce. So the hunter this turn will take 3 damage from Jin's shooting. And with all the activations done, this is the end of round 1. So the rebels have accessed the storehouse by killing the Nexu. A Transdoshan has taken quite a bit of damage, but also our rebel operatives have taken some damage as well. So at this precise moment in time, it could go either way. So let's get straight into round 2. Round 2 begins, and the Imperial forces' threat goes from 4 to 6. And the Imperial forces will spend 4 of this threat to acquire some hired guns. And these will be deployed around the storehouse. First to activate for the rebels this turn is Dahlia.
I sense a tremor in the force.
And she will get out of the difficult terrain and stand the other side of the Transdoshan for her first action. Her second action is to attack the hunter with her armored gauntlets, which she purchased after mission 1. Her attack roll is as follows. The Transdoshan blocks 2 of her damage, but Dahlia will spend 1 of the surges to do 2 damage to the Transdoshan, leaving him on 1 health. Next to activate is the Transdoshan hunters.
You are my prey.
The first to activate is the blue-clothed hunter, and for his first action, he will shoot at Dahlia. Due to Relentless, the Jedi will receive 1 strain token, but before the attack is rolled, Jin will interrupt the hunter using her ability Quick Draw, allowing her to take a shot at the hunter. She uses the DH-17 once again, and with that roll, the hunter will die. So Jin will use that 1 surge to recover 1 strain, and because of her ability Opportunist, Jin will move 1 space into the storehouse. And as the Transdoshan body hits the floor, something lands on the metal grate. The second hunter will activate next and will shoot at Garkan. As he is focused, he'll be rolling an additional green dice. After that attack roll, the hunter will spend 1 surge on himself, making himself focused once more, and also making Garkan have the bleeding condition, which is during his next activation. After he resolves an action other than the action listed below, you will suffer 1 strain. And with this, Garkan will take 3 damage from the hunter's scattergun, and for the second action, the hunter will retreat near the locked room in the storehouse, hiding behind some blocking terrain. Next to activate is Jin.
I'll show you how to fight.
She will turn and shoot at the probe droid. Her first attack does a lot of surges, so she will turn 1 of them into 1 damage, pierce 1, and will spend the other on recovering 1 strain. She'll then use her ability Opportunist as she did 1 damage to the droid, allowing her to move 1 space up in the storehouse. For her second action, she'll attack the probe droid again, and with her DH-17, this time she'll spend the 1 surge to do 1 damage and 1 pierce, doing another 2 damage to the droid. And due to her Opportunist ability, she will move 1 space and end next to a spice barrel. Next to activate is the hired guns. And the brown-clothed one will move around the storehouse, closer to the spice barrels. And for his second action, he will shoot at Jin. The hired gun attacks, and Jin will roll a white dice for her defense. And with that roll, the hired gun will turn 1 surge into 1 damage, and 1 surge into pierce 1, meaning Jin will take 2 damage from this attack. The second hired gun will activate, and his first action will be to move up the board to see Dahlia. And with his second action, he will shoot at the exiled Jedi. The hired gun shoots, and with Dahlia's roll, she will be taking 3 damage from that hired gun. Next to activate is Chewbacca. And for his first action, he will move into difficult terrain and end on top of the mystery item the Trandoshan left behind. For his second action, he will shoot at the hired gun. And with Chewie's attack, it will kill the hired gun. But it will trigger the hired gun's ability, called Parting Shot, allowing him to shoot at Chewie before he is defeated. And with this parting shot, the hired gun does 2 damage to Chewbacca before he dies. Next to activate is the probe droid. He will shoot at Jin. The droid attacks and does a lot for this turn. He will spend 1 surge to recover 1 damage, 1 surge to apply 1 damage to the roll, 1 surge for Pierce 1, and with all that surges spent, Jin will take 4 damage. Then, for his second action, he will move around the storeroom to protect the spice barrels. Next to activate is Fen.
Beats the hell out of basic training.
He will use his ability Tactical Movement, giving himself 2 additional movement points this turn. And before he will move, he will use 1 strain to move 1 additional space in the storehouse. His first activation will be to spend all 6 movement points to get through that difficult terrain, to end on the platform on the other side. His next action is to move again and get into base to base with both spice barrels. With no more Imperial forces to activate, it is Garkin to activate next. And for his turn, he will spend 1 action to remove the bleeding condition off himself. And then, for his second action, he will choose to rest, removing all his endurance tokens off himself, so going back to 0. End of round 2. The Imperial forces have some damage across all the heroes, except for Finn, but Jin and Dahlia aren't looking too good. But the Rebel forces have got into positions to start recovering the spice barrels. So with that being said, let's get straight into round 3. Round 3. The Imperial forces increase their threat and the Imperial player chooses not to reinforce. First to activate is Fen.
Let's see what you've got.
And he will try to recover a spice barrel that is adjacent to him. He will be doing an interaction action using the physical skill on his card. Needing a surge to succeed, Fen successfully collects 1 spice barrel. For his second action, he will do the same to the other spice barrel. But unfortunately this time, he doesn't succeed. Next to activate is the Trandoshan Hunter.
You are my prey.
And he will target Dahlia as he has line of sight to her. As the Trandoshan has targeted Dahlia, she will gain a point of strain, making her max out on her endurance. His shot will be doing enough damage to wound the Jedi, so she will use her ability Foresight, giving the ability to re-roll this defense dice. But she will take 1 point of damage to use this ability, as she is now going to take damage equal to the ability's cost, which is 1. She re-rolls the dice and gets a blank, so she will take 5 damage, and this will wound the exiled Jedi. The Jedi's abilities change due to her being wounded, and she will lose precision strike, and her speed and endurance go down. The Trandoshan will spend the 1 surge to become focused once again, and for his second action will stay where he is near the door, but walking away from the incoming Wookiees. Next to activate is Dahlia.
We must concentrate our minds on the task at hand.
For her first action, will interact with the item underneath Chewie, and it is a key card to unlock the spice room at the back of the storehouse. The Imperial forces increase their threat as the Rebel forces have received the keycard to the storeroom. She will then spend 2 strain to move up to the door, and for her second action, she will open the door as she has the keycard. Immediately, Dahlia's senses are assaulted by the stinging aroma of spice. A blaster emplaced swivels towards her, a last line of defense to protect the great portions of the stash. As the exiled Jedi has unlocked the storeroom, the Imperial player has several choices to make here. So the Imperial player chooses to increase the threat again as an interrupt for the Rebel forces opening the storeroom. And unfortunately, as the door is opened, an E-Web engineer has been placed.
Surrender at once.
Next to activate is the hired guns, and they will shoot at Jin for their first action. And with that roll, Jin dodges the attack, so the hired gun misses. The hired gun's next activation is to move into difficult terrain to reposition himself for the next round. Next to activate for the Rebels is Chewbacca. And for his action, he will move into the storage room. And then he will shoot at the E-Web engineer for his second action. Chewie's attack ends up doing a fair bit of damage here, and the E-Web blocks 3 of the damage, but Chewie will turn one of those surges into 2 damage, and the other to stun. The E-Web will take a total of 3 damage from the Wookiee. Next to activate is the E-Web engineer.
Surrender at once.
And for his first action, he will get rid of the stunned condition. And then he will shoot at Chewbacca point blank. And with that roll, Chewbacca will only be taking 1 damage from the E-Web engineer. Next to activate is Jin,
I'll show you how to fight.
and she will shoot at the probe droid for her first action. She attacks, and with that roll, she will spend 1 of the surges to gain 1 damage and pierce 1, and another surge to recover 1 strain. And because she cannot spend any more surges, she'll do 1 damage to the probe droid. She'll target the probe droid once more for her second action. She shoots at the probe droid, and with that roll, she'll spend 1 surge to give the attack 1 damage and pierce 1, doing enough damage to destroy the probe droid. Last to activate this turn is Garken. For his first action, will move out of the difficult terrain to end on the platform. And for his second action, he will move again, getting Garken into the storage room and adjacent to 2 spice barrels, ready for possible collections next turn. Round 3 is over, and the Rebel forces have collected 1 of the spice barrels, and Dahlia is the only wounded hero so far. The Imperial player has a lot of threat to spend next turn, so let's see what will happen in round 4. Round 4. The Imperial forces increase their threat, and he will deploy this turn and spend 7 of the threat to add non-elite Trandoshan hunters onto the battlefield.
You are a slippery opponent.
First to activate this turn is Chewbacca. And for his first action, it is to interact with a spice barrel, needing a surge to succeed. And he does, and so collects 1 of the spice barrels. For Chewie's second action, he will interact with the other spice barrel. Again, needing a surge to succeed, he does, and collects another spice barrel, giving the Rebel forces 3 out of the 6 barrels collected, meaning they are halfway to their mission objective. Next to activate is the E-Web engineer.
Focus all firepower.
And he will use his ability Assault, allowing him to attack twice per activation. And he will shoot at Chewbacca twice. The first attack, however, is dodged by the Wookiee, but the E-Web engineer will spend 1 surge to recover 2 damage, taking his damage taken to 1. His second attack on Chewbacca does some damage to the Wookiee, and he'll spend 1 surge to do 1 more damage to Chewie, giving him a total of 3 damage dealt to the Wookiee. Next to activate is Fen,
Let's see what you've got.
and he will use tactical movement at the beginning of his turn to give himself 2 additional movement points. And for his first action, it is to engage with the Spice Barrel. Needing a surge, he gets a surge and will collect another Spice Barrel for the Rebel operatives, leaving only 2 more to be collected from the storeroom. Before his second activation, Fen will use the 2 movement points granted to him by tactical movement to move close to the crate. And for his second activation, he will interact with that crate and will get valuable goods. And as you can see on the card, it states at the end of the mission, you will receive 100 credits. Next to activate is the Elite Transdotion Hunter.
I shall make you a trophy for my ship.
He will move up the board and into the storage room, and he will target Garken, and because of his relentless ability, will trigger giving Garken 1 strain before the attack. Chewie will use his Protector ability, giving Garken +1 defense during this attack. The Hunter shoots and does a lot of damage to the Wookiee. Even with Chewie's ability to help Garken, the Hunter hits Garken hard, and he will spend 1 surge to add Pierce 2 to the attack roll. And with the Scatter Gunner ability, Garken will be taking 6 damage from the Transdosion Hunter this turn. Next to activate is Garken. And for his first action, he will try and collect 1 of the Spice Barrels. Garken is focused, so he'll roll an additional green dice for the interaction. And needing a surge, Garken gets 1 and collects 1 of the Spice Barrels, leaving 1 to collect to win the scenario for the Rebels. And for Garken's second action this turn, he will try and interact with another Spice Barrel. He is no longer focused, so he'll be rolling his normal physical test for the interaction. And he gets a surge, meaning the final Spice Barrel is collected by the Wookiee, ending the scenario with a Rebel victory. After blasting your way clear and hauling the stolen spice out, Chewbacca thanks you for your help. He quickly assures you that should you need his assistance, he would be more than happy to help you in his return on a future mission. And that was the Spice Job, a side mission on our Imperial Assault campaign here on Bleeped Productions. I want to thank everyone who has watched the first episode for leaving a like, subscribing, and even commenting to help improve my understanding on the rules, because, man, this game is amazing, and yeah, on this channel, yeah, we make mistakes so you don't have to. I constantly make mistakes, but it has been amazing how well you guys have embraced the first series, and hopefully you'll embrace more content that we've got planned for Imperial Assault in the not too distant future. So, with another Rebel win in the books, they have the ability to spend credits on some armor or whatever they want to spend it on, and also gain experience, as the next episode we will be moving onward with the campaign missions, and this will be mission 3, A New Threat. So guys, if you've enjoyed it, please leave a like. A like is much appreciated. If you want to see more, please smash that like. This has been 2 years in the making. I've enjoyed doing this episode, and we will see you in the not too distant future for mission 3, A New Threat.